guys and girls, so in today's video I'm going to be talking about conspiracy theories, so get your popcorn, get your tea, get your drinks, because this is going to be a lengthy video, shall we say. Okay, well there's several different conspiracy theories. The first one I'm going to be starting with is the most recent one that's been speculated within the British public, which is Grenfell. To begin with, that's the first thing, no, I'm joking. If we take a look at the history of Kensington, which is where Grenfell Tower is, you had, Kensington years and years and years ago, during the times of the Windrush generation, so like in the 40s and the 50s, you know, and maybe even the 30s, you know, when the Windrush generation, that's the Caribbean people, the African people, when they were coming over from Africa and coming over from the Caribbean, like most of my grandparents did, not all, but most, came over from the Caribbean, you know. They were considered the Windrush generation, and they came over, they contributed to society, they got jobs working in the factories, you know. And what most people don't know, what most racist people don't know, is those advertisements to come and work in England were placed all around the Caribbean, telling the people in the Caribbean and Africa to come to England for work. So if anyone's to blame for the immigration of the Caribbeans and Africans back then, it's the British government. But anyway, let's not get into that, that's for a different video. So now, Kensington has always been, well, Kensington back then was a kind of, it was an alright area, right? A lot of people at the time didn't like the fact that loads of West Indians, you know, Caribbeans were coming over and living, you know, in the UK, and they didn't like seeing all these black faces and, you know, seeing all these, like, you know, non-white faces, mixed race faces. They didn't like it. You know, they called them names. You go into a shop, you'd get called a monkey, etc., etc. Now, as it went on, the government created, it was somewhat a bit of segregation, because we had the rich part of Kensington and the poor part of Kensington. And the poor part of Kensington, the government decided, there's all these people living here, why don't we make like a block of flats? And they made like a block of flats, and then several years later, you know, or several decades later, they made the tower, Grenfell Tower. So Grenfell Tower was actually home to a lot of immigrants, a lot of foreigners. There were lots of people that were not English in that building. There were loads of Muslims, loads of Africans, loads of Caribbeans, like a few Italians. Like, oh, I love Italians, but anyway, let's just move on. So there were a lot of foreigners living there. The theory is, to get to my theory, because you're probably thinking she's not shutting up, a lot of the people living there were foreign, and the government didn't like that because some of them were illegal immigrants, and it's sort of like throwing them back home would be considered inhumane. It would be considered the wrong thing to do, even though it's the right thing to do, by the way. From what I know, somebody's fridge caught on fire. Now, I don't know how that's possible. Were you lighting a cigarette at the back of your fridge and it happened to catch onto the fridge? I've never seen a fridge on fire. I don't think we're ever going to get to the bottom of this, and you know, I'm pretty sure that even after they thought that they cleared out everyone out of Grenfell, there were probably still people in there. I'll insert some pictures now, but I'm pretty sure, looking for all of that, there were probably still bodies even like a month or 2 months after they, you know, had gone through all of the buildings and everything. There were hundreds of flats in there, you know, tens of hundreds of flats in there. Not tens of hundreds, but there was either tens of flats or hundreds of flats in there. I'll put like a figure on the screen now. So, ethnic cleansing. If you haven't watched my 31 Days of Hell, I think it was episode 9, put the episode on the screen now. If you haven't seen that episode of ethnic cleansing, it goes into more detail about this conspiracy. But the main gist of it is that whoever they are, allowed the building to be set on fire for so long without having people on the scene quicker, because of the types of people that were living there and the fact that a lot of them were illegal immigrants. So what they did is they allowed the building to stay alight for so long before sending somebody out, because had that been the posh side of Kensington, or had that been Buckingham Palace, not police, fire brigades, probably police as well, probably ambulances would have been on the scene within 10 minutes maximum, you know. But because it's a poor part of Kensington, a lot of people there are on benefits, they're working class people. Life is hardest for lower class and working class people. So that's my theory on that. I think that it was done to ethnically cleanse the area and remove a lot of the foreign faces from there, because decades ago Kensington didn't look anything like what it looks like today. So there you go. Okay, so the next conspiracy is on the 7/7 London bombing. I remember this. I remember where I was when this happened. I think I think I was at school, or I think I'd come back from school and I'd been told that this has happened on the news or something like that. So there are 10 conspiracies. That 2 of the bombers were double agents. There was a training exercise on the same day. Maybe that was training. You never know. Some people think maybe the bombers had paid for parking. They paid for 7 days parking. Paid for round trip tickets. CCTV footage is missing from the time of 7/7. From the research that I've concluded, according to www.themostt10.com and other such sources, which I will put on the screen, and I will leave it in the description below if it's not on the screen. Now, a lot of CCTV footage from that afternoon is missing, or that morning is missing. Passports somehow survived the blast. Maybe there was a bomb under the train. That's what other people are speculating, there was a bomb under the train. Okay. Another strange thing is that, so this was the 30 bus. It was the 30 bus that goes to Hackney Wick that exploded that day, and that was the bus in 2007 that combusted. So what was weird is that, as well as the bombs that ripped open 3 underground trains, obviously there was this explosion on the number 30 bus that day. And what's strange is that on that day it was on diversion. It diverted through Tavistock Square, and for some reason that allowed the apparent bomber to board it. So had it not gone on diversion that day, maybe that bus would have never exploded. So, and another conspiracy is that there was a freelance electrician around the time that was apprehended and shot by the authorities. There was speculation that he may have been a terrorist. So that's a potential theory to what could have happened. So there are many different things, many different speculations about what... Because the thing is, unless you're actually on or near or around what's going on, you don't really know what's actually happened or what's going to happen. And even the people that are involved in these tragedies, they don't know what's even happening. All they know is that they're in this situation and they get hurt if they don't get out quick enough, or if they're not careful, and it's going to keep happening, and it's going to keep happening around times that are significant to a lot of people. But I'm not going to say any more on that. I'll leave I'll leave links in the description below. Princess Diana death conspiracy theory. Now, this isn't even much of a theory. This is just the truth. So if I was Shane Dawson right now, I'd leave about 4 triangles on the screen, or 5 triangles on the screen, because this is the most believable story out of all of them. This is the most believable. Now, Princess Diana actually wrote a letter. I will show you the letter on the screen now. I'll take some pictures. But Princess Diana wrote a letter to somebody saying that she knew that her husband was plotting to kill her in a car crash. So not only did she predict her death, but she wrote to somebody else about her death, and she had a very good estimation of exactly when that was going to go down. So 99.99% it was 100%, 99.99% in her head, she was thinking, this is going to happen during this journey whilst I'm in the car at this time. So when she was in that car going onto that tunnel, she knew exactly what was happening, and she knew that she couldn't avoid it, because she didn't have the same motives as the rest of the royal family, and she wanted to do her own thing, and that wasn't approved. So therefore they thought, well, she's not going to change, so we have to get rid of her. And that's just how it had to go down. Unfortunately, it is what it is, but there you go. It's very sad, because she's one of the nicest people in the royal family, one of the most honest people. And it's just very sad that, unfortunately, she had to, her death had to be arranged like that, and that her children, won't have anyone to, they won't see their mums at their weddings. Like, for example, Prince Harry. Prince Harry, when he married Meghan Markle, his mum wasn't there. That's very sad. And I'm sure, that certain people will probably regret the fact that their sons are unable to have their mums present at the wedding. But anyway, let's move on. So that will be in the link in the description as well. So the next one is David Icke conspiracy theories. Okay, it appears the link I'm using for reference says that it could not be found, so I'll just go off the top of my head. So David Icke has a number of different conspiracy theories. The main one that he's well known for is believing that a large majority of world leaders across the world, in first world countries and maybe even some second and third world countries, are reptilians in human form. There's footage. I'll try and insert some footage now. And that footage should have been showing you a few examples, or an example of what appears to be some sort of technology that hides the reptilian skin, makes it look more human, but sometimes there are glitches and there are issues with that, and that is what David Icke believes that a lot of celebrities are actually reptilians, and a lot of them have reptilian blood, and that's why they have these glitches and they have these problems with, you know, their eyes will turn a certain colour for a certain second, and, you know, if you blink you miss it, you know. And the next conspiracy theory by David Icke is that a lot of celebrities, more so politicians, are involved and support paedophile trafficking rings and things like that. There's something that apparently there's an airline, I think, called the Lolita Express, and certain American politicians have boarded that and gone to like this island where there's like loads of underage people and everything. But I don't want to say too much because this information's already out there, but I don't want to go into depths too much because I know more than I'm saying right now, so I'm just gonna not say too much. So the Madeleine McCann conspiracy theories, this is the most interesting one out of them all. So Kate McCann, during her questioning, she didn't answer 48 questions. Now that looks suspicious. That looks like she had something to hide. So we're going to go through that right now. Oh, is this advert not going to disappear? So she went through 11 hours of interrogation and refused to answer 48 questions. Now, I actually wrote an article about this. I'm going to go and pull up the article that I wrote about this because I did write a lot of detail in that article and I got a lot of information out of it. The article that I'm going to look at, I wrote a lot of information in there, and I did hours and hours of research on that day and found out a lot of valuable information about that. So I'm going to go and use this article I wrote for reference in this video. Right, so here are some facts about the Madeleine McCann case. Here are some facts. Madeleine's blood was found in the hotel room when she went missing. Traces of Madeleine's blood were found in the trunk of the car. Sniffer dogs detected these, picked up these scents, by the way. Kate McCann went into disturbing detail on page 129 of her book, Madeleine, about Madeleine's delicate areas, shall we say. This is YouTube, I can't use the exact word. Kate McCann refused to answer 48 questions, which I've already made clear. I will leave a link in the description if you would like to know exactly all the 48 questions she refused to answer. That will be in the description below. Several body language experts have all reached a similar conclusion, that either one or both of the parents are lying during their interviews, they have some sort of guilt for something that they won't share, and that they're deceiving the public about what really happened. Now, several different body language experts have come to that conclusion. Not one, not two, not three, quite a few have come to that conclusion. So if not just a few have come to that conclusion, but more, we should be questioning it much more than we already have. We should be questioning the motives of the parents in that situation that night. What were they really planning? Because they entered the room several times, and several times they left the door open. They left the bedroom door open to Madeleine McCann's room throughout the night that they went for dinner. And on more than one occasion, several occasions, when they went to go and check on Madeleine, they didn't go into the room completely. They just sort of peered over, shut the door, just close the door a little bit, leave, like a little gap in the door, as they repeatedly did throughout the night. Huge mistake, because somebody could easily get in and out of the room. But they left the door open a little bit, just, sort of peered in the room. And the thing is, I think it was Jerry McCann that said, one of the times that he checked on Madeleine, he noticed there was more light in the room than usual, but he didn't actually go in the room and check. He didn't basically trust his intuition. So he knew he saw more light in the room than usual that night, but he didn't go into the room and check and investigate and be like, right, why is there more light in the room? He just thought to himself, there's more light in the room than usual, but I'm not going to do anything about it, and then went downstairs and ate dinner. And I know that that's going to be playing on his mind for the rest of his life, and he's going to be blaming himself because he didn't go into that room that night and try and figure out why there was more light than usual, and so on and so forth. So yeah, anyway. The smell of corpse odour was found in 12 places located in or around the hotel, and it was Madeleine's corpse odour that was detected. And much more is revealed in a video that I'm going to put in the description below. Several witnesses claim to have seen people of a similar appearance to the Podesta brothers. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but this is what people have described. and they have certain facial markings that were also recognised by strangers. But anyway, that's for the police to discover, isn't it? So if you would like to see in-depth body language analyses of this, I will leave more links in the description. But let's move on to my last conspiracy theory. So, okay. Let me see if I can find maybe one more. You know what? I'm going to save my... I've come up with my own conspiracy theories, and I'm going to save that for another video. So if you would like to see that, then that will be out soon. So, okay. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you're still watching at this point, love, peace, and mwah.